Welcome to another episode of EU Decoded, the podcast from the EPP Group in the European Parliament, where we break down the biggest issues in EU and global politics. And this week, we are looking back at the latest plenary session in Strasbourg. And at the heart of the debate was one key question: how do we put Europe's security in Europe's hands? Well, the Commission has taken the first step with the Rearm Europe proposal to mobilise close to 800 billion euros, crucial funding to strengthen European defence and security. But funding alone isn't enough. The EPP Group's chairman, Manfred Weber, emphasised the need for a true European defence market and obligatory common procurement to achieve this goal.
We would save a lot of taxpayers' money if we act together. We have 17 tank models in the European Union. The Americans only have one. We need standardization. We need an obligatory common procurement. And we need to build up a true European market for defence. Secondly, we need joint European projects like a missile or drones defence system, a cyber defence brigade, a satellite surveillance. And Europe has to answer the offer of France to define the French nuclear shield as a kind of a European shield.
As MEP Andrzej Halicki puts it, all this must happen fast, without unnecessary bureaucracy. EU citizens are waiting for quick decisions.
Obywatele czekają na nasz rozsądek i szybkie decyzje. Jeszcze raz apeluję: mniej sporów, mniej gadania, mniej biurokracji, mniej debat i rezolucji. Szybsze, wspólne decyzje.
The European Commission may have put 800 billion euros on the table for defence, but that doesn't change the fact that EU member states must step up as well. As MEP Razo Juknovic stressed, defence spending needs to reach at least 3% of GDP in 2026. But that's just the beginning.
Ukraine's defence industry should be integrated with the European one. On the longer term, to ensure that the EU most of policies align with defence and security needs. Defence, priority of priorities. We need to increase our defence spending to at least 3% of GDP in 2026 as a start.
In line with these discussions and in response to ongoing events, the European Parliament adopted a resolution which welcomes the Ukraine-US joint statement on the resumption of US military aid and the proposed 30-day ceasefire. But it also includes a crucial point. A ceasefire can only work if the aggressor fully upholds it. The European Parliament expects Russia to halt all attacks on Ukraine and is calling on member states to significantly increase and speed up military support, particularly the supply of weapons and ammunition in light of shifts in US assistance. Another integral part of Europe's security is an effective migration policy. The failure to enforce decisions to return failed asylum seekers who pose a threat to Europe's security has had serious consequences. Europe has been shaken by acts of violence committed by individuals who had no right to be here. And this week in plenary, the European Parliament debated the Commission's proposal for a new common approach to returning migrants who don't have the legal right to stay. The EPP Group stance is clear: if you don't have the right to stay, you must leave. MEP Thomas Tobe expects the negotiations on this proposal to deliver a realistic and effective policy.
We cannot have a system where people that are denied asylum can simply move to another member state to avoid being returned. There must be clear rules, firm obligation, and real consequences for non-compliance. I think this proposal in general creates now the common framework that we need.
Every year, nearly 500,000 people are ordered to leave the EU, yet only 1 in 5 actually does. And this isn't just a burden on member states, it also threatens the international protection of those who truly need it, says MEP Lena Dupont.
Those who don't have a right to stay in the EU should not be in the EU. As simple as self-explanatory sentence. Yet only 1 of 5 third country nationals with a return order is effectively returned. This stretches member states' capacity. It undermines the promise of international protection for those who are in real need of protection. it can have devastating security consequences.
The EPP Group has long pushed for a stronger, more efficient return process. Europe can't afford any more tragedies. An enforceable return system is crucial, both to protect citizens and to ensure that Europe's asylum system works for those who truly need it. And as Europe navigates this new global reality and works to ensure its security, we can't afford to lose focus on our industry. One sector that has been in the spotlight for months is automotive. The European Commission recently unveiled its action plan for the automotive industry, an important step, but not enough to fully tackle the challenges European car makers are facing. While the plan includes many positive elements, it falls short of delivering the major breakthrough many had hoped for. It still lacks clarity on the combustion engine ban and remains too vague, says MEP Jens Giesecke.
Stattdessen bleibt sie vage und unkonkret. Nur die Ankündigung, dass die
The EPP Group's position is clear. We need a comprehensive approach and full technology neutrality by 2035. Yes, we're committed to Europe's climate goals, but not at the cost of choking our industry. The path forward must be driven by innovation. Well, the EPP Group stands firmly with European industry, but just as strongly it stands with European farmers. This week, the European Parliament debated the future of agriculture in Europe. We have consistently pushed for a farmer-focused policy, one that strengthens farmers' roles in the supply chain, enhances food security and cuts unnecessary bureaucracy. And now with its newly presented vision for agriculture and food, the European Commission is finally listening. MEP Herbert Dorfmann emphasises that the key is balancing high-value production with sustainability.
Our food industry needs to produce high-value products, and at the same time we need to be sustainable. And I think the big step forward Christoph Hansen did with this vision, that he combines the two things. He understands that agriculture needs to be productive, needs to be sustainable, and needs to have a look at young people.
And that's a wrap for this week's episode of EU Decoded. Stay connected with the EPP Group on social media as we continue to break down the key political debates shaping Europe and the world. Thanks for listening, and until next time, goodbye.